let me get to the story. The first one I want to do is, it happened right here in Texas. And I want you guys to read this story with me. Let me put it on the screen. Ahí está, mis amigos. I love Peter Hortes. You know, you see him on MSNBC all of the times. But I always liked him for his honesty, for how he portrayed. But I want to read you this. Texas team applauded for giving what Big Pharma refuses: a patent-free vaccine to the world. Developed here in Red Country, at Baylor, here in Texas. I don't know if it's at Baylor. It's one of the medical centers places. Let's read. We're not trying to make money. We just want to see people get vaccinated. A small team of Texas researchers is being hailed for developing an unpatented COVID-19 vaccine to share with the world without personal profit, and some advocates asking, if they can do it, this small company can do it, why can't Big Pharma as well? Dubbed the world's COVID vaccine, the inoculation formerly called Cobervax is an open source alternative to Big Pharma's patent protected vaccines. Instead of being produced for profit, that shot could ultimately be manufactured around the world and made cheaply available to all without governmental or private legal retribution. Common Dreams reported this week that Cobervax, developed jointly by Texas Children's Hospital, Houston Baylor College, and the Indian pharmaceutical company Biological E Limited, was authorized for emergency use in India amid a surge in infections driven by the highly contagious Omicron variant. Texas Children's Hospital says the new vaccine is at least 90% effective against the SARS-CoV-2 virus and 80% or more effective against the Delta variant. We're not trying to make money, Peter Hortes, who led the Texas Children's Hospital team, told the Washington Post. We just want to see people vaccinated. This is big. You hear me rail against the evils of unfettered capitalism, the evil of what Milton Friedman did when Milton Friedman says, executives of companies, you have absolutely no moral responsibility to people. Your only responsibility is to the shareholder. You are there to uphold shareholder value, nothing else. And we got the Moderna vaccine. We got all these other vaccines developed. And by the way, they were not developed just by these private companies. They don't take risks. These vaccines had their genesis. The mRNA vaccines had their genesis with your money, with the money from the taxpayer. That's where it started. Private sector don't take risks. They don't. Don't let them fool you with all that crap about if we don't charge these exorbitant fees for drug prices, that somehow innovation will end. Dr. Hortes proves that otherwise. You know, I'm an engineer. Bruce is a scientist. Norman is an engineer. And I have other engineers and scientists and other folks in the house right now, on our screen right now. We don't innovate to get $1 billion. We don't innovate because we want to get filthy rich. We innovate because we innovate. We see when I stayed up at 3, my wife could tell you, for over 10 years, I probably got 3 hours of sleep on average a day, developing ComDRV, the product my product. And it wasn't because I thought I was going to get rich. It was because I loved it. I loved innovating. Yes, it's going to pay the bills. And eventually I said, yes, eventually it'll get us a house, etc., etc., etc. But engineers, doctors, good doctors, not the ones that are in it for profit only, engineers, scientists, we love to innovate. That is why an atomic bomb could have been created in Brazil, in China, in Russia, and all these places. Even though they have different systems. Communists, capitalists, socialists, all these different systems. Innovators innovate. But in a capitalist system, we take advantage of everybody. to make those who create nothing wealthy. And when I say create nothing, that's what I mean. People say, oh, but look at El Señor Elon Musk. He's so smart. Elon Musk, of course, is smart. I don't want to take away anything from Elon Musk. I don't want to take away anything from Jeff Bezos. I don't want to take away anything from Bill Gates. They are all, if you take an IQ based on an American IQ, their IQ is better than a lot of people, but it's not the best. There are a lot of people with higher IQs who work for them, and they are the ones who innovate. And they didn't say, I need to have billions to innovate. They said, I just want to create. I love creating. That's it. So the lie is that somehow we need to pilfer the American people in order for us to create something. I'm going to try to get Hortis on the show. I am going to, it's interesting because I got when the guy in New York, his counterpart in New York wrote a book, his publicist sent us the stuff to interview, and I wasn't particularly interested in that one. I knew Hortis was working on something, but I didn't know Hortis was coming out patent free. If I could find this guy and just give him a big hug and just say, you made my point, brother. You made my point. You made my point. You made not my point. You made our points. Because that's how we feel. I know even Lee Grant, my brother conservative, feels that way. So that is where we're at. That is where we're at. Let me get to a few messages, then I'm going to go do my ass. So let's get back. I left you guys for a while. Paravet. Okay, coming on. We have Puffin says, good on them for making open source vaccination. Paul Fleming says, this would be the ultimate win for the world. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.